So I knew this was going to happen. I can't hear the caller. So, we got a little different setup here tonight. They're trying to amplify the call, but the problem is, we're on speakerphone here, so I don't know what this thing is, but yeah,
fix this phone.
Yeah. Well, we try to see different technology from time to time, so we're going to have to keep that caller on hold till we can figure out. Now we lost them, so we'll try again. We had a little telephone difficulty. 334-3000. There's somebody on the line again. Thanks for staying with us.
Gotta stay in there.
I'll tell you, this high tech. They shift our set. They give us this different setup. We're not high tech guys. You throw a little change at us, and we're not going to know what's going to happen. So I guess I got to move this back over here.
There's not a lot of mechanical ability right here.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. We're going to try again. Well, in the meantime, Maryland has never been ranked number one.
Never ranked number one.
And Duke, the 7th number one team to fall at Cole. So let's try again. Hey, you're on the air?
Well, that sounds a lot better.
Thank you. I don't know what happened. Jeff Gasly, thanks for staying with us.
Hey, Jeff.
Hit that thing twice to get you right back, but I got you.
Well, I don't...
Hey, Jeff. You kind of really forecast the future there. You said the game with Dickinson was going to be a really difficult game.
Oh, I knew what was going to happen. This team's been playing with fire for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The Bullets need to win at Dickinson this past Saturday to lock up the top spot in the Centennial West. They have an 11-point lead at halftime and end up losing by what? Double figures, right?
It was 76-67 or something like that. It was ugly. They get in that point where they just don't want to score, and it just...
Billy Hagan lit them up from the outside. They're tiny point guard for Dickinson.
Yes, I tell you right now, this team is playing with fire, and I'm afraid Wednesday night's not going to be any better. They're just not doing well as a team right now. They're not on the same page, and they're just not scoring. I mean, when you have a team up by 12 points, and then you decide to start passing the ball instead of keep running your offense, and I mean, they just fell apart. I mean, they got lucky against Johns Hopkins or Sinus. They pulled one out. And
yeah, Boyle explodes for 17 against Ursinus.
And didn't play much on Saturday. I'm not sure what's going on, but they're just a little dismantled right now.
Well, let's look at this. They have 18 wins, and they have the same road that they had last year, the defending champs. They had to go to Muhlenberg and go to F&M. So they ran that gauntlet last year. They know how to win those games on the road. So you could argue they're right where they want to be, but I know they don't feel that way. But they've won at Memorial Hall. They've won at F&M.
I'm not sure that this is the same team at this time a year ago.
Well, the only difference is Greg Schreiber, which is a huge difference, admittedly. Glasser's a freshman. He's done phenomenally well. These are the huge games. He's got to come up big, and they've gotten contributions off the bench as well. So it's got to be a team effort.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. If they don't play for 40 minutes Wednesday night up in Muhlenberg, because they were down by 20 some up there at halftime the last time they played up there.
Yeah.
They came back and went ahead and ended up losing by 8. So.
They got Lesko, who's a double-double guaranteed. I think he's 6'7". Muhlenberg Mules always play well at Memorial Hall, a tough place to go. The bleachers seem to extend almost to heaven itself. But
they're only on one side, aren't they?
Yeah. It's a very interesting venue, a historic
I played
venue.
a game there one time, and all 5 starters on our team fouled out, and we lost in overtime. And I remember our assistant coach, Jimmy Huggard, I hope he's still alive, chasing the referees down the hall and slamming his fists on the door. In fact, we scored the winning basket on an out-of-bounds play underneath our basket, and we're called for 3-second calls. We scored the basket. And the buzzer went off, and the refs took off, and our coaches chased them.
So you lost.
We lost by 1 point. We won the game. We had a game won, and they disallowed the basket on a 3-second call. Well, obviously that doesn't start the ball's inbounded. It was really one of the all-time homer jobs. So you just got to – see, I think if you're going to win on the road, you got to pack your defense.
That's right.
You got to pack your defense. You got to go out and put the glove on people. And even then, you might not win, but you're not going to win a scoring contest on the road.
Nope. Right now, I think the best team right now in the Centennial Conference, and I think Jeff will agree with me, is Ursinus. I mean, they got two great inside men.
They have the huge inside game. I think their outside game is a little inconsistent, and their in-between game is probably lacking. But yeah, they have definitely the two top twin towers that I saw in the Centennial this
How big
year.
are they?
6'9", 6'8", or
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
big for Division III.
I mean, Gettysburg, they gave them two guys from their size gave Gettysburg everything they could handle.
Luciano and Erfel, and Luciano can hit the three too, and he's a legitimate 6'9".
At number 29 for them is a great outside shooter, but he didn't shoot much the second half against.
Yeah, they shut him down.
But it's going to get arrested. And Kansas is number 1 right now. Maryland's number 2, and Duke's number 3 in the AP.
Well, it doesn't mean a whole
See, I
lot.
don't know how Duke slid the 3. They've got 2 losses. Kansas has 2 losses. Duke was number 1. They lost on the road to the number 3 team. They slide the 3. That's mind-boggling to me.
You see the records of the top 5 or 10 teams are all within a game here and there and there. And it don't make-
Cincinnati, very sneaky. They're at 4.
Yeah.
I saw him play earlier. Logan is just a tremendous player. I think he's going to be a great pro. They are scary for a lot of teams. They play the great defense. They know how to play offense. And Huggins, he's a slave driver. The guy's nuts.
Yeah.
He is. He is insane.
I just like to say one thing before I go. I hate to see Chuck Winters resign like he did.
Yeah, me too. I don't know the story there, but I didn't like it.
Nope. I talked to him Wednesday night, and the next day he's resigned. He's gone, and I think there's more to the story what's told. I know they changed a lot of personnel out there, and I just
No.
it's your job ain't secure. I mean, look at Donnie Anderson and Mount St. Mary's, and I mean that's going to be an ongoing thing for a while. And
Yeah, it's we.
Jeff, I'm going to tell you something. Athletics is not a nice profession most of the time.
No, I agree with you.
It really isn't. It's very difficult. I was fired once. I have no idea why. I think that you just no one. That probably someone along the line said to somebody else, either he goes or your job's in jeopardy, and boom, that's it. There isn't a lot of loyalty. It's too bad. Certainly, Mr. Winters did an excellent job with athletics there.
Even with the academics out here, I mean, he did a great job with these kids academic-wise.
I mean, if you're going to give credit to people that are in charge, if that's your philosophy, then you have to give them a lot of credit for the Roz and their lacrosse and the soccer
President's
programs.
Cup. That's emblematic of all sports. They won it, 8 years in a row?
And I've never
argue with that.
seen Mr. Winters not conduct himself in a professional manner in any time I've seen him in public over the 10 years that I've known him, or maybe 12 years that I've known him. When he represented the Gettysburg College administration at dinners and things like that, he always spoke beautifully. He was a gentleman at all times. I was very dismayed by it.
Oh, I was too. I mean, now I got a question for you. Maybe you can answer this, Jimmy or Jeff. Since Dave Ray has now become athletic director, does he have to step down as head coach of the soccer program?
I would doubt it. Maybe that's maybe economics is an issue here. Anytime you have an administration or with a lot of people that have been there for a long time, sometimes the department heads change. They come in there and they clean house. They want their people to do things their way, whatever. Who knows?
Was there any new personnel above him recently that came in? I don't know the hierarchy.
I think so. I think, so you could.
I'm not sure. I really don't want to get into it. But
Yeah, we don't want to speculate about that.
I've been trying to find out, and of course I haven't got to the right person yet. But apparently there were some new people hired. And
The point is, we're all at will. Loyalty. We say loyalty matters, character counts, but when it comes down to it, sports is a cruel business. As Coach Dooley has just opened that
it's too
discussion.
bad because I think that when you grow up, as I grew up in a coach's house, and I don't think there's ever been a fairer, stronger man than my father when it came to these things, and I think unfortunately he may have made me a little bit naive when it comes to those things, and also he was from New York City with very little politics. Everything was based upon competitive examination. Civil service jobs. So all the way up to the principal, you had to earn it through an exam. So when you became superintendent, it was political. And I can remember him telling that he was told to do something by a higher up. He said, I'm not doing it. I don't think it's right. So the guy said, well, I'm telling you to do it. He said, you put it in writing. And the guy didn't put it in writing, so he never did it. But I think it's different here. You don't know what pressures come to bear on an athletic director. I know that in a college campus, especially one kind of like of the Gettysburg type, whoever the president is usually determines what the athletic venture will go. I just feel very badly.
Philosophical differences. That's probably what it came
what
down
they'll
to.
say, yeah.
I just got one thing to say. I'm going to let you guys go. I know somebody else is trying to call in. But, Chuck, if you listen, I just want you to know you did a great job out there. I enjoyed you for 13 years, and whatever you do, I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah,
That's
we
nice
echo
of you,
that
Jeff.
as well.
We'll see you
All right.
later.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
We echo that as well. To Chuck Winters, all the best.
Yeah, I thought he was a very class guy.
High school basketball, we have to dip into that zone because tomorrow night the playoffs
tournament.
start. The second season, Gettysburg girls in action at Redland against Lower Dauphin, a team they've already handled twice, and sometimes that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, usually the third time beating a team is very, very difficult. I don't think this is going to be a close game, and I want to jinx my very close friend Kevin Thomas, but they dismantled them so badly, 45-14, that I think it would be. I think it'll be closer, of course, than that. But I think Gettysburg will win by 10.
Interesting stat in the Patriot, the Sunday Patriot. 34 of the last 36 quarters, the Gettysburg defense has held the opponent in single digits. That's pretty impressive. But the Patriot doesn't give the Lady Warriors a lot of hope because they're matched up against Central Dauphin in the second round. Jen Harris is waiting there, and they don't expect them to get much further.
Yeah,
the
Jen
top
Harris,
four,
yeah.
what do you say, 5 teams out of the
I think
district?
5 go. 5
So,
go in Quad A girls.
If they lose to Central Dauphin in
Right.
game 2, they still have a chance to battle back and
Right,
get into
right.
states.
I think they will get in states. And I think that defensive stat will stand up. And I think that's, see, Jay Billis the other night on television, I don't know if I said it on this show or I said it on Rafi's show, but Jay Billis the other night had a really interesting comment. He said there are plenty of guys who play Division I basketball who are really good on defense who can't play offense. But there's nobody who can play offense that can't play defense unless they don't want to. So one of the big jobs of coaching is to make people play defense. Obviously, Coach Thomas does that extremely well. And I think that that will stand up. That stat, it's funny that you mentioned that stat. To me, that was something that was one of the few stats that I ever kept. How many quarters do we hold the team under 10? And it better be more than any time everybody else gets 20 on us. And then how many times do we get 20? I felt if we got 20 once, we were going to win the game because we play pretty good defense. And I think that's something that's important. I think that Coach Thomas's team has held people to astronomically low scores. So they'll do a good job. And those kids are playoff trained now, too. They got some experience, and they've got some great kids on that team. And
They saw Jen Harris at Hershey last year, so they know what kind of game she's got.
That's right. Let's
So
get by
come
Lower
down.
Dolphin first.
Yeah.
And then, who's Central Dolphin playing in the first round? Maybe they'll get beat.
Well, yeah.
They're
And
certainly
then
coming off a disappointing situation.
it might not be the same. Obviously, she doesn't have the same supporting cast as a year ago.
No.
But so the Patriots looking past the Lady Warriors. Another team they're looking past is Fairfield. The Knights have lost, 6 of their last 8, 7 of their last 9, something like that. Kind of crawling into the playoffs after those 2 impressive wins over Skyland early. They've not really played well since then.
Well, I think the injury to the
Wheatrick,
one guy is really hurt them.
he's their
because they
defensive
didn't have a
stopper.
lot. Yeah, he might have been giving them their soul. And it's a funny thing about the game of basketball. You don't know why. We had a kid who played for me named Brian Jones here. He averaged 1 point a game. We never would have been any good without him. He's just one of those guys. He just gets out there and he makes everybody better. Over the years, I can point out 4 or 5 guys that just made your team better.
Bruce Gallagher, that kind of
Bruce
player,
Gallagher did a great
senior
job.
for the Warriors. They
Did a great job.
And we'll talk about the Warriors. You saw them in action their last,
I saw the last 2
game of the
games.
season. They are going to be loaded next year. They should be impressive.
Well, they've got a lot of people back, and a lot can happen between now and September, or now in November, excuse me. But our kids have got to realize they've got to work hard, and they've got to get better. And there's an old adage about basketball. I'm sure it's true in every sport. You never remain the same. Either you're getting better or you're getting worse.
That's right.
So you got to put some time into it. You got to be willing to do the hard work. You got to be willing to understand that it takes hours to get better at skills. And I always enjoyed playing basketball by myself. I always enjoyed that. Getting out there and shooting every day and working on your ball handling. And I always said that it's too bad that I didn't have all the things that I have handed to kids when I was a kid, because I'd have done them all. You know, I'd have worked hard at them. I was in the Y the other day, and the two DeLone kids who they didn't have practice that day, so they were in the Y playing. Well, boy, I like those two guys.
Gym rats, isn't that the
Got to
term?
be a gym rat.
Yeah, you got to be one, and a lot of that is learning how to win. You saw that Trinity team against the Warriors, and they just kind of toy with teams, and they're undefeated. They are the top seed in Double A,
They're very talented.
and
I mean, they have
DeLone
some
the
very
second
talented
seed.
people.
Biglerville is also in the bracket, so they could make some noise. Those Canners. They knocked off Fairfield the last
I
week
like
of the
the
season.
Canners. I like their personnel.
They-
You know,
they-
I saw them
yeah.
early in the year, and I
Yeah.
really liked them.
They can stick the three. They got
I
Turner
like
who
their
can
Campo
score.
kid. I don't know how much he plays. I really like him. He's got real
quick.
good feet.
Comes off the bench a lot, I think. And
I like him. He's only a junior.
yeah.
Yeah.
So on the girls' side, the DeLone Catholic girls, they lost 2
3 for
red line.
17
I was
for
going
the
to say,
foul.
you talk about stats. That is the number that comes out and
I heard
bites
that game on the
you.
radio.
They are usually so proficient from the free throw line.
No, they're not. That's been their Achilles
Well,
heel.
actually,
Yeah, they
that's
shoot
true.
about
At the
57%
school, though,
from the line.
traditionally, I did a JV game earlier. The JV shot 16 of 18 from the line in one
Yeah.
game, and here you have the varsity out there, 3 of 17. You can't win with that kind of performance at the line.
The thing that's good about this is that those girls can now just go look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, look, we should have won that ball game, and we made our free throws, we would have.
It really
That's the
doesn't mean
down.
anything. It's the league title. You know, that means something to them, but
Right.
they're still alive for districts, and they're
Exactly.
still second seeded behind the Trinity girls.
Bigger fish to fry.
Bermudian girls, Biglerville girls still alive as we get, well, obviously they're all alive, but they've all qualified. I really like the Bermudian team. We talked about them before. They play all 11 girls. Eagles 11 coming soon to a gymnasium near you. I've said that before as well.
I like that line, though. That's a great
Yeah,
line.
and Coach Nace plays them all. The Biglerville Canners have a lot of talent, a
Hanover
lot of
girls are in.
inexperience.
Hanover
Hanover girls
girls
as
are
well,
in.
double
Yeah.
A, right?
Yep.
So it'll be interesting. And
Littlestown girls are in.
exactly. Brandon Lippy gets at least one more game.
She's a good player.
She's a very
She's a
good
nice
player.
player.
And on that note, we've something that we can agree on. Brandon Lippy, leading scorer in the area, is a very good player. And this is a very good time for us to take a break. So we will pause and return after these messages.
Battlefield Harley-Davidson Buell of Gettysburg is one of the largest Harley-Davidson dealers on the East Coast. Located on Route 30, just east of the Route 15 interchange, Battlefield Harley-Davidson Buell offers a great selection of genuine Harley-Davidson motor clothes for the entire family. Our men's department has everything he could want. Our Her Turn boutique specializes in petite to plus sizes, and our kids department really rocks. Thinking about accessorizing your bike this winter? The friendly and knowledgeable staff in the parts and accessories department can help you find the things you need to give your bike the look you want. Speaking of winter, it'll be here before you know it. Call now to reserve your space for winter bike storage. Coming in October, B-Rod, the newest addition to the Harley-Davidson family. We're open 7 days a week, so stop by today, or you can shop the Harley-Davidson Road Store by visiting our website, www.battlefieldharley-davidson.com. There's always something going on at Battlefield Harley-Davidson Buell of Gettysburg. For fine dining and lodging, it's the Her Tavern and Public House. Full-service restaurant serving lunch and dinner. And a 12-room bed and breakfast. Every Wednesday night is wing night. For superb food and spirits on Hers Ridge in Gettysburg, it's the Her Tavern and Public House. 900 Chambersburg Road, Gettysburg. The Gettysburg Area Retail Merchants Association invites you to visit the more than 150 unique and charming shops, restaurants, and art galleries located in downtown Gettysburg. From funky to fine, country to contemporary, historic to cutting edge, the shops, art galleries, and restaurants of downtown Gettysburg offer a wide variety of merchandise for locals and visitors alike. The Gettysburg Area Retail Merchants Association are proud sponsors of many events such as the Outdoor Antique Show in May and September, History Meets the Arts in April, and First Friday, Gettysburg style, on the first Friday of every month in April through December. We offer gift certificates that can be redeemed at over 40 downtown businesses. Our gift certificates are the perfect gift for any occasion and can be acquired at the Apple Tree, Kilwins, Just Jennifer, and T&S Menswear. Plan to visit the charming and unique shops, art galleries, and restaurants in beautiful downtown Gettysburg soon.
When your car breaks down and you're all alone, who you gonna call? Rick's Towing. Rick's Towing, 24-hour towing and emergency service. Don't let car trouble spoil your day. Rick's Towing, they'll get you going.
Mama Ventura's fine Italian restaurant and lounge. We are Gettysburg's only true Italian restaurant specializing in your favorite Italian dinners and seafood. They also have the best pastas, subs, and pizzas in town. Join your friends for pool or darts in the lounge downstairs, with karaoke on Thursdays and Saturdays, and a DJ on Wednesdays and Sundays. NASCAR fans, check out the races on our huge 72-inch TV, the largest in Gettysburg. No reservations, first come, first serve. Mama Ventura's fine Italian restaurant and lounge, 13 Chambersburg Street, Gettysburg.
Just Jennifer Gallery has very cool stuff. Just Jennifer Gallery, located on 33 York Street in downtown Gettysburg. Just Jennifer Galleries has a wide selection of pottery, hand-blown glass, candles, and handcrafted silver jewelry from around the world. You can also find accent pieces for the home, antiques, rugs, and great gift ideas. Just Jennifer's represents over 40 artists, such as world-renowned Harley-Davidson artists Scott Jacobs and David Ewell, as well as Native American artist Raymond Yarbaugh of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Stop by Just Jennifer's on the first Friday of every month for First Friday, Gettysburg style. A new artist is featured every month and refreshments are served. Just Jennifer's. Very cool stuff, great prices.
We have returned. And inbounds Wednesday night, 6:30 to 7:30. Ralph will be on board.
Ralph will be there.
And Coach Dooley, and they'll be taking your calls as well, 334-3000. Give us a call.
And I think one of the things that Ralph wants to discuss is the recent Adams County Hall of Fame ballot that was released.
I got my
and
ballot.
talk about some of those people.
I got my ballot. I finally got my ballot.
I got my ballot, I sent it in.
So did I. Only 2 women on the ballot. But,
I voted for one of them.
well, I voted for both of them.
Okay, I voted for one.
But anyway, it will be interesting. What are there, about 200 members, and you figure they get back 100 votes, and I don't know, what's the protocol? How much, do they need a majority of the votes?
I don't know. I don't know many of the
Or do
rules.
they, I don't know.
I just think these associations are wonderful. I think they're just great for people who still love athletics. Every time I go to them, I end up meeting someone who's a lot older than I. In fact, the last time I was at one of these things, I said to myself, I love talking to these older people, and you know what? I'm one of them. So it's really a lot of fun.
You had a great story coming out of that dinner they had.
Oh, yeah, that was great. What about the ball? Hiding the ball? That was fabulous. Yeah, Bill Eisner told me that.
The 51 team or whatever, was their 50th anniversary, so
yeah, great.
I'm sure they'll come up with something for next year.
Everybody's got stuff. That's what makes athletics great, is that, athletics, unfortunately, are always much better in retrospect than they are when you go through them.
Yeah.
And that's what you try to tell kids. Don't quit, don't give up, because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to look back at this in a very different way. Mm-hmm. And it's too bad that some kids just don't stick with it.
The older we get, the better we were.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's for sure. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing indeed.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, just on a note here for any rugby fans out there, Old Gaelic rugby team is starting its spring season. Practices just past Grandpa's Growler on Route 114, west of Mechanicsburg, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. So check it out. Always looking for good talent, new players. Experience is not required. And that is actually, rugby is going to be a big thing on our game of the week in the spring because it's kind of a downtime. After basketball and before baseball, rugby spans the gap there. So we'll be having a lot of coverage. A great game indeed. We got a call here. Hey, you're on the air. Thanks for calling Sports Chat.
Good evening, Jeff.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug, how we doing?
Pretty good.
What's new?
You've been watching the Olympics?
Yes.
A smidgen.
Yeah, smidgen here, smidgen there.
I'm not into this bobsledding and the luge and all that stuff, the skeleton. But and I'm not into figure skating either, actually. I'm not into much of it. But
I like speed skating.
How about the hockey? I mean,
I like that.
that's pure.
how about Sweden knocking off Canada? Was that a huge upset
I
or
thought
what?
that was big.
U.S. women are pounding people, 12-0, whatever.
It's exciting. There's no, there's no like lull in the action. It's just pure hockey, no fights.
What about the pairs, though? The biggest story of the Olympics. The Russian judge and the French judge collaborate to steal away the gold medal from the Canadians, and now they get it back, and everything worked out beautifully, I guess.
Now I've heard they were going to like 14 judges now
Yeah.
instead of 9. Back to hockey, though. I mean, I think they should do that with the pros as what they're doing in the Olympics.
What, widen the ice? Get rid of the blue line, or...
Well, it seems like there's too much intermission during the pro games. It's more than 20 minutes. It seems like it anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. I'll have to check it out. Should I watch hockey? Now, you were... what about the NBA? Any thoughts on that, Doug?
I think the Lakers really blew the game yesterday. They showed no continuity together.
Yeah.
All their
Shaq was playing, right? No,
No, Shaq was not
Shaq.
playing.
No
No Shaq
Shaq.
yet.
Okay.
Shaq, but they played,
Portland, Maurice Cheeks, they might get a chance to straighten themselves out, but that Rasheed Wallace, he's a trouble case.
He's just got some real problems.
Yeah.
he could be one of the best players. Well, he is one of the players.
Right. He might be able to be the best player if he just would somehow learn to control himself, but I don't think it's going to happen. You're not talking about a 19-year-old kid here.
Yeah, he's had every opportunity to
He's
straighten
always
himself
been-
out.
Is Sabonis hurt or?
I think he's retired. Arvydas Sabonis?
Yes.
I think he retired.
Did he really?
Yes, the gentle giant went back to Russia
Wow.
or wherever.
I didn't see him lately.
Maybe
I
he's
didn't
from
know.
Lithuania, actually, now that I think about it.
He is from Lithuania.
All right.
And Sabonis is one of those guys that when he was a young guy, he was just a great player, and then he got injured a few times, and of course he didn't come into the NBA to really the twilight of his career. So I don't
Great
know.
passer, though, for a big man.
He
understood the game.
extremely talented man.
What's your take on expanding the NIT? Is there any reason for that, or?
It's money. And it gets about 8 bubble teams in there, right?
Yeah, there was a big situation where I think the school was St. Francis of New York, who should have been a real natural for the NIT since they're right in Brooklyn. And they didn't get in, even though they led their conference all the way, and they got upset in the conference tournament. And it'll just get more teams an opportunity to play.
Okay. I guess one of the last things I got to say is I was in Westminster today, and I drove through town, and they had the funeral for Jim Spencer, and there was a lot of, I guess, famous people there today. I didn't see many, but seemed like a big turnout.
Jim Spencer, the baseball player?
Yeah, he died the same day that Frank Corsetti died. The only difference was Corsetti was 91 and Spencer was 54.
And wasn't Spencer the last left-hander to play third base in the major leagues?
He's a first baseman, I believe.
I know, but there was something about him, like they slid him over to third or something. Oh, well.
I can't remember. I just remember
That is
him.
really super trivia, but...
Yeah, it's too bad. You're that young to leave this planet that early. That's pretty sad. He's only 54 years old. I was so impressed that Corsetti was 91. Frank Corsetti, who played shortstop with Gehrig and Ruth and those guys.
Another 91-year-old Colonel Sheets passed away
Yes,
this past
and what
weekend.
an obituary. I don't know if you read that obituary this morning. It was
Impressive.
incredibly impressive.
What a life.
What a great
What a life without ever really leaving Gettysburg, but what a wonderful
well, he
life.
was in the Army.
Yeah, sure. But,
But
you
what
know,
a
for
great
most of
influence
his life.
he had on so many people. And I thought that Terry Fox's remarks were just terrific.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that Terry Fox feels that Colonel Sheets was a great teacher. I want to tell you that Terry Fox was a great teacher. He was a great teacher. Not a good teacher. He was a great teacher.
Okay, I think that's about it, except for the expansion draft.
When is that, Doug?
Today,
I think that's in April. It used to be the end of April.
well, I mean, the NFL draft or the expansion draft? The expansion draft was today.
yeah,
Shelley went first.
Okay.
Did they do half a conference first and then like?
I don't know. They just had the first 5 picks. They had that Sharpner guy, the linebacker from the from
Ravens?
Baltimore Ravens. They got him. They got Baselli. They got an offensive tackle from the Jets. Another guy from the Jets. I just saw it quickly. I can't remember the
They get
fourth
Troy
one.
Edwards from Steelers?
Not yet.
I can't remember. I know they got Charlie Batch.
I didn't see that pick.
That's what I heard anyway.
Interesting. So they're going to go with that kid
Carr?
Morrison or something up at Detroit?
Oh,
The kid that played the last couple games.
either him or is it Detmer?
Oh, Detmer. 7 interceptions? You got to be kidding me.
Oh well, that's
Well, you know, maybe they'll get somebody in the draft, in the college
Yeah,
draft. That's
well,
in
that's
April.
true.
they were
That's
talking
true.
about this Carr from Fresno State.
He's very
Yeah.
good.
Right.
I saw him play about 4 times last year. I was very impressed with him, just as much as I was impressed with the Harrington kid from Oregon.
They predict he will go to Buffalo.
Is that right?
Yes. That's Mel Kiper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
gets it
pretty
down
knows
pretty
his
well.
stuff. Yeah. Whether
Well,
or not
that,
they're gonna pan out, who knows?
Harrington looks like a winner just based on, I only saw him
I
the one
agree.
time in the Rose
I
Bowl.
agree.
He looks like a winner.
I
So
really like
we'll see
him,
what
too.
happens.
And with Rob Johnson playing, getting hurt, you know.
Didn't Van Pelt win the job by the end of the year, or was that just because Johnson was hurt? Johnson's slow.
Yeah, and I guess they signed Van Pelt for like 3 or 5 years, so
Yeah, Johnson's probably on his way out.
I'd look for
Well,
that.
you know, people in sports, especially they copy who wins. And if you look at the last 2 Super Bowl quarterbacks, obviously nobody knew who they were before they won it. I mean, everybody knew who Dilfner was, but Tom Brady wasn't a household name. Maybe you can win with one of those guys, and I think maybe you'll see other teams try to do that.
We'll just see. We got plenty of time to see.
Yes.
Okay?
All right, Doug.
All right, you guys take care now.
Many
Thanks, Doug.
thanks.
Thanks
You
for the
too.
call.
Doug
Like
Warner.
Old Faithful.
Doug, yeah.
Good
Just
man.
checking in.
Good man.
No relation to the Ram quarterback.
It's a different Warner.
That's a different Warner, indeed. So, Olympics. The bobsledding team,
Yeah, I've lost.
4th.
I've lost interest in the Olympics going back to the winter. The Summer Olympics, I hardly watched them last time either.
I know. It's just not the same without Jim McKay.
Well, I don't think we have got too many professionals in there. That's how
Hey,
I feel.
you're on the air. Thanks for calling Sports Chat.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Charlie Batch was not selected today.
Is that right?
Hey, thank you.
I was going to ask you what you thought about the big power up yesterday in the Daytona 500.
Who's this caller?
This is Barry Ecker from Fairfield.
Barry, thanks for calling. You had to ask, you put us on the spot. I have to admit, I didn't watch Daytona yesterday, Coach. What can you tell me about
I don't know much about it either. I know a new guy won, and I saw him interviewed today, and I can't remember his name.
Ward Burton.
That's it. He won the event. And, let me ask you a question, since you obviously know more about it than us. The Daytona is like the #1 race of the year. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Why is it the first race of the year?
I don't know.
They've always had it that time of year. Apparently, there's quite a shrine to Dale Earnhardt down there. Did they give any coverage of that?
From what I was watching on the replay, yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask the coach a question. What he thinks that Shaq and maybe Allen Iverson need to do with their feet. They seem like Shaq's always seemed like he's out with his toe.
I don't know. I think that, each guy might have an arthritic condition. A lot of times, and this is going to sound really silly to you, but I know that this is true. One foot is usually larger than the other. And if you're right-handed, usually your right foot is a little bit larger than your left, and they just may have had all their lives sneakers that were not fitting properly, and they were jamming that toe into that sneaker for the last 10 years, and probably some arthritic situations have developed. I know that sounds crazy, and I'm certainly not a doctor, but I have always noticed that usually one foot's a little, my right foot's a whole size bigger than my left. So I always had that problem of trying to get the right size sneaker. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that probably could be the problem with both of those young men.
But Barry, I watched the Sixers yesterday against the Pacers, and they really missed Iverson.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of a fight, though, between Coleman and Miller. Did you happen to catch any of that?
No, I was watching.
Oh, you were watching Daytona. Yeah.
I caught
Okay.
most of Daytona, but what I was going to ask the coach there again is what does he think I mean, it seems like the NBA changed all the rules,
Now you can play zone.
but it hasn't improved the scoring any. I mean, it seems like the game was actually better. To me, it seemed like it was better back when Dr. J and them played because the guys played more as a team.
I can't argue with you because you and I think the same way. I agree with you. I don't know what's happened. I heard an interesting remark by the coach at the University of Pittsburgh over the weekend. I was sitting waiting for my wife to come out of Walmart, and I was listening to a sports show, and he said that the more athletic people are, the more difficult it is to score. And, thinking about that really has happened to the NBA. I will not say that the players today are not more athletic than they used to be, but they sure as heck can't score the same way as before. Now, my nephew was an assistant with the Celtics for 4 or 5 years, and he kept telling me, Coach, look, when you're open and the guy's 15 feet away from you and then they recover to you, they recover so fast that you're not really open. And he feels that that's the difference, is that the knock on the NBA was nobody played defense. The defense is so good that nobody's open, and you have to be incredibly athletic to get yourself open, and those guys don't shoot that well because they don't work on shooting. Everything you see on SportsCenter is a jam or a long three, so nobody works on beating people up. Look at Michael Jordan. He lives now on dribble, drive, pull-up, jumper, and he's 39 years old, hasn't played for 2 years, and he's still incredibly effective. Look at Stockton. Stockton is 40, plays the point where he runs into the most athletic people in a gymnasium, and he's still effective. So I think what's happened is that the quality of the skill has reduced and the quality of the athlete has increased. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Do you think they ought to raise the rim to eliminate some of the jams?
Well, that's a good question. I've always been against that because I think it only helps the bigger guy more when the ball goes up, when the rim would go up. But maybe you have something there. I don't know. I think if you really want to watch the NBA, wait till the playoffs start and see if the fundamentals increase or decrease there. If they decrease in the playoffs, although I found last year's playoff boring. Last year's playoffs I didn't enjoy.
The Lakers were just on a roll. Now it's a little interesting with Shaq hurt.
I thought the Philadelphia-Milwaukee series was terrible basketball. I didn't enjoy that series.
It was, but somehow the Sixers won.
Well, no, I don't mean who won or lost.
Yeah,
I mean
it
just
was.
the quality of play.
It was.
So
Well, I mean, the only thing that's going to stop the Lakers is the big toe.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with
I
you.
mean, because it just seems like they seem like they're the only two that have the legitimate two scorers that you need in the NBA. Like in the 80s, they had 3 scorers. Each team had to have at least 3 scorers, to actually be competitive.
Well, I think we get spoiled. Like when we go back and watch on NBA, on the Classic Channel, they watch the NBA Classics, and they show you old playoff games. And you watch the old Celtics versus the old Lakers.
With the
Jabbar
short shorts?
and Johnson and Byron Scott and James Worthy and Michael Cooper. I mean, wow, those teams, they were great. I don't think they have the ability to score now the way they did then. And what's going to change that? I don't know, because the college game is now becoming pretty boring too. Everybody plays the exact same way. Get it down, kick it in, kick it back out, shoot the 3. You don't see the 3-lane break. Although Maryland played old-style basketball, they run the old flex, and they actually keep their guards stationary, and they got that basketball inside on Duke all day yesterday, all day. I mean, you could see the amount of foul line jumpers that Dixon got. It was amazing.
I think you can tell who his college team is, huh?
Well, I think that Krzyzewski's a better coach than Williams. I don't like the way everybody's banging up the three all the time. Duke made 33 attempts from behind the line yesterday. Of course, they were behind, so maybe they wouldn't have made it if they weren't behind. But I think if you watch college basketball, you see so many threes being jacked up, and you don't see some of the things that I think make the game very, very clever. 3-on-2 break being one of them.
You said Maryland only attempted 9 threes.
9
so-
threes to 33 threes.
It
they
did
won by
seem like
14.
that the scoring was a lot better when they didn't have the three-point line in the NBA.
I agree.
You know, maybe
Wilt
they
scored 100, obviously, without any three-pointers.
Well, he
I
used
mean,
to score 100 every game. Now 100, would you agree 100 is a rare commodity?
yeah.
Somewhat rare.
Because I can remember watching it when I was a kid. When I really got into it, when the team scored under 100 points, that was considered a great defensive basketball game.
That's right. Now, when you watch in the NBA, watch and see how many times you do not see a fast break. When I was a kid, I used to sneak up in my room, and I was supposed to do my homework, and I put the Knickerbocker game on real low, and I'd be doing my homework, and I'd be listening to the Knickerbockers. Of course, I was for the Knicks, and they'd be playing the Celtics, and the guy would go, Knicks move the ball down the floor, Guerin throws over Sears, back to Guerin, over to McGuire, back to Guerin, over inside the Ray Felix, back out. They get the ball inside, they score. Celtics inbound, 2-2. Celtics was down 4 and scored so quickly it was unbelievable. So I think the fast break basketball has disappeared.
We saw Maryland burn
I don't
Duke
know
a couple
why.
times. They had that one baseball pass the length of the court.
Yeah, that was neat.
I'd say, like with the 76ers, I mean, I like my two favorite teams. One plays in New York, which ain't doing so well. The other one plays out in the West Coast. But I mean, I still follow Philadelphia some. But you look at Allen Iverson. Can anybody actually name the next player that's on Philadelphia that's even averaging close to 20 points?
No, you might get a big game occasionally out of Hartbring or Aaron McKee or even
I like Snow.
Matumbo. Yeah,
But
Snow.
Snow's been hurt a lot. But I think he's a very good player.
But
And
Barry,
I
you're
like
right, though.
the kid.
They don't have a second scoring option at all, so
yeah.
that's what really kills them.
Right.
I mean, Allen Iverson's from my favorite college team.
The Hoyas.
But I mean, let's face it, Georgetown hasn't been Georgetown since Alonzo Mourning.
Maybe since John Thompson got older.
And there's a nice story. Alonzo Mourning and the Miami Heat, they were buried and everybody gave up on them. They're slowly
Coming back, aren't they?
putting their
He's a
season
great player.
together.
He's a great player.
He's slowly building up his stamina, averaging about 17 plus a game and rebounding, blocking shots. Now they're a half game up on the Knicks. So
I mean, I don't know Alonzo personally, but I do know somebody who's a very good friend of Alonzo Mourning. And he tells me he's just one of the nicest people in the world. I mean, on the floor, look out.
Yeah.
But off the court, they say he's just one of the greatest guys.
well, they have 30 games to go. Pat Riley, don't give up on the Heat yet.
Yeah, don't give up on Pat Riley.
I think if that would be the one team that I would say if they could actually match up with the Lakers height-wise.
Because
Yeah,
Alonzo
nobody's
could
gonna
probably
match up.
play Shaq, you mean.
Yeah, well,
He might be able to play Shaq a little bit. Yeah, you might be right.
I think they actually matched up in college. I believe Mourning handled him.
Well, I remember Indiana matching up against UCLA and just embarrassing Shaq, just beat the devil out of him.
I thought Shaq went to LSU.
He did. Indiana played LSU.
Oh, okay.
And they just beat the devil out of him.
Well, I mean, another question I wanted to ask the man, and I'm gonna hang up here real quick. And
Okay, Barry, go ahead.
who's he predicting in the state college tournaments to do what? I mean, of the local teams.
Oh, the high school games.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that the DeLone boys will go to the district final. I think that the DeLone girls will go to the district final. I think the Gettysburg girls will make the state tournament. And I think those will be the 3 teams that are most successful.
Well, where I'm from, Fairfield's got a pretty decent team this year, but
I'm hoping they do well. I'm rooting for them like crazy.
Well, they snuck up on everybody last year. Now everybody's writing them off again, so I guess they're right where they want to be.
I think if they get that kid back,
Wheatrick's back.
yeah, well, if he's back, then I think they've got a little bit more depth. They get a little bit more refreshed. I think they've got an easy, no, I shouldn't say that. They got a game I think they'll definitely win in the first round. They're playing at Gettysburg. Scotland plays the first game, and then Fairfield plays. So hopefully that they'll get through that round, and then maybe they'll sneak into the tournament, and maybe another miracle will take place.
You never know.
I'll tell you what, we could sure use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too.
Well, hey, y'all have a good evening and thank you.
Hey, thank you for your call.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks for checking in. 334-3000, Sports Chat. I hear the phone ringing. Well, we let our callers probe the many areas of their concerns. And we don't have any kind of agenda or any kind of timeline. We're sitting in here for about an hour, a very relaxed format. That's where the caller comes in, 334-3000. Hey, you're on Sports Chat.
Well, I don't know about this. Is Chester. You remember me, don't you?
Chester,
Chester, how are
sure.
ya?
Boy, I was so happy when Duke went down. Boy, I was jumping up and up.
How about Dookie V? I guess Dookie Vitale was a little upset too, huh?
I cannot stand that Dunleavy. What is he, 6'4", and they have him listed at 6'10"?
He's still growing.
I think he's 6'9".
That's what they say. He's 6'9".
I'll tell you, I think Maryland might win it all.
Well, they've never.
I'd like to see that.
You say they've never been ranked number one.
They've never been ranked number one.
And they've obviously never won at all.
They were in the Final
Gentlemen,
Four.
wasn't this a shame? The starting linebacker on the Miami Hurricanes, number 48, the linebacker,
Oh,
lost
yeah,
his
he
life.
got killed.
Yeah, and the
Terrible.
Padre, Dar,
Terrible.
the outfielder. This is the time of year when these
Yeah.
accidents seem to happen in spring training.
There's
There's
been
always
about 4
some
or 5 of them
tragedy.
recently, and sad, very sad.
I'll tell you who's going to be very dangerous is the Philadelphia Phillies.
All right, Chester, now you're talking.
It's going to be an exciting season, Mr. Cook.
Yeah, well, I wish we could get Roland's mind turned around. He turned down $140 million. He says the ownership doesn't have the right attitude. They're not committed to winning.
140 million.
10 years, $140 million. He turned it down.
Maybe after I hang up, I can call Kurt Schilling.
Yeah, sounds good.
Try to get him back in. I'm very, very angry at the state of Georgia. They gave that animal Mike Tyson a license.
Did they really? Where's he going to fight?
I read in the USA Today paper the other day that they granted him a license to fight in Georgia.
Well,
Sure, yeah.
there was some columnist came out with a story saying, let Tyson fight. People don't have to pay for the pay-per-view. You don't have to go watch him fight. Why shouldn't he be able to fight? I mean, that was the guy's his argument. It makes some sense. But who wants to be the one to sanction it?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to say that at any time in the history of the sport of boxing that the sport of boxing was a great place for moral behavior.
Right.
I mean, it's always been a morass of ugliness, and I don't think he's any different than half of those guys have been fighting for centuries.
Jeff, I like the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm wondering who's going to be losing from that team going to the Houston Texans.
Chester, I'm not sure who they weren't able to protect, but I have a feeling it's not going to be any of the key players. As far as I know, they have all the key people on both sides of the ball coming back next year. Eagles definitely are going to be around the playoffs. They'll definitely be studying tape of how the Patriots knocked off the Rams.
I'm on the edge of my seat that Jeremiah Trotter.
No, they will keep Trotter, but believe me, he's not going to be made available for the expansion draft.
Hey, Jeff, getting back to baseball, okay, this is one of my all-time favorite pitchers. It was back in the 1980s. I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
He tried to make a comeback. He was a left-hander. He broke his arm, and then he re-broke it, and they had to amputate it.
Dave Dravecky.
Dave Dravecky, yeah.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right.
He was my all-time favorite.
I know. That was a heartbreaking
exploded
story.
or something, yeah.
Twice. He
Like,
came back.
I have a book in my classroom about him. I give the kids every once in a while.
I just hope the true baseball fans out there never forget him. He's very religious now. He was on a religious program a couple years ago, and the man is just dynamite. It's too bad that he could have done so much in the sport. He was really a role model and everything, and it's too bad that they had to amputate his left arm.
Didn't he have cancer or something in his arm?
It developed cancer the second time he broke it.
Great story.
Yeah, he was a great player.
All right, Chester.
Yes.
What about the Yankees? They have David Wells back now. It looks like they have 6 starters if you count Sterling Hitchcock and the rest of the gang. What are they? And I'll toss this over to Coach Dooley. What are they? I mean, you can never have too much pitching, but what's that rotation looking like? They have Clemens, they have El Duque, they have Pettit, Sterling Hitchcock.
From the Oakland A's, Giambi.
Giambi.
Giambi, he just reported today. Don't forget
a brute.
Messina. You didn't
And
mention
a
Messina.
couple years ago,
Messina, I knew you'd help me out there, but that's like 6 starters.
You got some talent.
Oh, man. Well, who's going to play third base for him?
it's
interesting.
a little ridiculous.
Well, spring training will be exciting, Chester. I heard Bobby Abreu had appendicitis, but hopefully he'll be ready for the start of the season. That starting 8 on the Phillies is about as good as you'll find. Pitching, always the big question mark.
Gentlemen, I know it's months and months away, but watch out. There's going to be an exciting game. I'm from Biglerville and Bermudian in football.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a great game.
Sounds
that's
good.
a terrific
I
conference.
got tickets. It's all sold out.
You're kidding me already?
Yes, it was in the paper a couple months ago that they're sold out already.
Well,
Really?
well,
Wow, that's great.
it's a neighborhood Donnybrook every year, so
That's great.
enjoy.
You'll hear the train moo, and the train's going to be awesome.
Okay.
Good. See
Yeah.
you later, gentlemen.
All
Hey,
right,
nice
Chester.
talking to you, Chester.
Travis Witherow, get your Times Offensive Player of the Year. That's the
He's
train.
back, isn't he? Oh,
back.
that's what he meant by the train. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's a
definitely.
great conference. I mean, really,
The
there's a
Liberty
lot of good
Conference.
teams in that
It
conference.
is, and they upset each other.
Yeah, it's a real good
Bermudian
league.
knocked off Scotland at the
Yep.
end of the year.
Steel Haas in there, Milton Bush is in there,
Susquehanna.
Susquehanna, Big Laville, Bermudian. That's a very good league.
Very good indeed.
In fact, some people
Camp
call
Hill,
it the best
right?
small school conference in the state.
And you couldn't argue with him either.
I
Hey,
did.
you're
I
on
don't
Sports
know
Chat.
enough about it, but
Thanks for
sounds good.
calling.
Yes, you were mentioning the Yankees and their 6 starters.
Yeah, who's calling here, sir?
This is Dick Simpson calling.
Dick,
Hi,
thanks
Dick,
for
how are
calling. Yeah, what do you think about that plethora of pitching performance?
Well, I read just a note in the paper here a couple weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago, and they talked about the 6 starters, and one person felt that they probably could go with a 6 starter rotation because of the age of most of their pitchers. But I can't see Clemens
Well, especially
being
at the
happy with pitching every 6 days.
No, and especially at the start of the season where you ease into the schedule, rainouts. You don't need a 6-man rotation in April. I just don't know what they're going to do with all these people, but
Maybe they'll trade somebody.
exactly. They're going to see what their needs are. Third base is a question mark for them. Maybe a spot or 2 in the outfield. Everywhere else they're pretty well set. So that, like you said, you can't have enough pitching. They could always trade it maybe for a third baseman. Maybe Roland will end up as a Yankee.
A lot of other teams. I'm not going to say they have as much money as the Yankees. I'm not going to say that. And I am not a Yankee fan. Never have been. Never will be. But you gotta admire the fact that they go out and play the free agent market better than anybody else seems to play the free agent market. And when they bring people in there, they produce.
Well, a couple years ago, when Pettit was in trouble with George Steinbrenner, he almost went to the Phillies.
That's right.
And if the Phillies would have Pettit, I'm sure they would be a much better team and a contender. Because I just think Pettit's probably the best pitcher the Yankees had over the last 5-6 years. And I don't think they give him credit for what he does.
You're right, and he's big at playoff time too.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's crazy, and it doesn't make any sense at all. Somebody goes there, they put those pinstripes on, they play better. They go somebody else, and they take someplace else, and they take those pinstripes off, they don't play as well. It's amazing.
Right. Another question I had for you. I was on my way home from Ocean City yesterday, and I was just listening to Maryland Duke game on the radio, and the commentator was a Maryland a person. But did Duke really play that bad, or you think that Maryland's just that much better team?
On that day they were.
On that day. I mean, if they were going to play tomorrow night on a neutral court, and you asked me who I would bet on, I'd probably bet on Duke. But I hope Maryland beats them.
I don't.
It's going to be a wake-up call for Duke yesterday.
Yeah, Dick, we're out of time, but thanks a lot for calling.
I'll see you next week.
Hey,
thanks
sounds
a lot.
great.
Call back, please.
Sounds great.
Enjoy your show.
Thank you very much. All you loyal callers out there, you make the show every Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30 here on Sports Chat. Coming up, game of the week, Wednesday night inbounds. Call in Wednesday night. Coach and Raph will be on board for you at that time, 6:30 to 7:30.
And I got to say goodnight to my birthday boy, Jake.
Say goodnight to Jake.
Okay.
And happy
And
birthday,
Sarah
Jake.
and AJ. My
And,
birthday boy, Jake.
For Coach Jim Dooley, I'm Jeff Cook saying we'll see you next Monday night here on Sports Chat.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.